"We've decided to move your gift to your sister's table." My father's voice carried over the laughter. The room paused just long enough for the sound to land. Forks hovered mid-air. A balloon brushed the ceiling and burst. Soft and tired. The restaurant smelled like frosting and burnt candles. Warm lights trembled against the mirrors, throwing back everyone's faces in pieces. Someone at the far end whispered, then looked away. The cake still had my name on it, but half the candles leaned toward her. My mother waved to the waiter, telling him to shift the bouquet. "She'll be taking your seat for the pictures," she said, smiling for the camera. The photographer didn't know where to aim. His flash blinked once, then twice, lighting the room white. Chairs scraped. My aunt cleared her throat and reached for water. The music looped on the same chorus, sweet and hollow. I felt the heat of the candles against my sleeve. I didn't move. The smell of sugar turned heavy. A glass rolled slightly on the table, stopped against my wrist. I heard the click of a phone camera, quick and nervous, the kind of sound people make when they're not sure who they're saving the memory for. I sat there, still. The napkin in my hand folded itself into a sharp edge. No one said my name. The laughter came back, thinner this time. A silver envelope rested near the candles. My name was crossed out, her name written above it in my mother's handwriting. I could see the ink still wet in one corner. The paper caught a bit of light, enough for the shimmer to sting. My father slid it closer to her plate with the edge of his hand, a clean motion practiced from years of decision-making. Inside was a scholarship check, folded twice, the corner showing the family crest. My birthday gift redirected, repurposed, signed. The waiter set another glass beside her, then paused. His eyes met mine for a breath. I looked away first. The air in the room turned soft, too soft, like it had to hold its breath with me. I reached for my phone, not to take a picture, but to turn the screen face down. The light blinked once before it went black. My hand stayed on it longer than it should have. The edge pressed into my palm. Someone started a toast. I didn't stand. The sound of the glasses clinking barely reached me. I placed the napkin on the table. Smooth. Exact. The way I wanted my thoughts to be. The silver envelope stayed in the corner of my eye. Sharp as a blade I chose not to touch. I stood. No chair scraped this time. Only my heartbeat in the quiet space they'd made for her. I looked at them once, each face framed by light and certainty. Then I turned toward the door. I didn't say goodbye. I've lived this scene too many times to call it a surprise. The first time it happened, it was small enough to miss. A Saturday errand. The kind families run together. My mother handed one credit card to my sister. "Use Christina's, she has points." She said it like convenience, not theft. The cashier waited. I nodded once. The scanner beeped. The receipt slid across the counter, warm from the printer. No one looked at me. At home, I saw the charge on my statement, Galleria purchase. A dress I never wore. I locked the screen, placed the phone face down, and wiped the table clean. The line of the cloth straight. No wrinkles. Weeks later, the pattern found new clothes. A meeting for my father's shop upgrades. I'd helped draft the cost sheet. When the supplier arrived, I stood beside him. "Notebook ready." He spoke over me, said, "Laya handled this. She's good with numbers." My pen hovered. The supplier nodded at her, not me. The air smelled like oil and lemon cleaner, same as childhood. My sister smiled. Small, rehearsed. Across the room, a man leaned by the doorway, a technician. Mid-40s, badge clipped to his pocket. His name tag said D. Hall. He tapped his wrench against his palm, not loud, but enough to mark the silence. He saw it all, didn't say a word, just tightened his jaw and kept looking at the clipboard. My father handed the supplier a folder labeled Inventory Recalculation. My notes were inside, my handwriting erased with new margins. He flipped the cover open. The paper made a soft crack, like a joint giving way. That night, I found the same folder in the office bin. The tab bent, initials gone. I pressed the edges flat, slid it into my bag. The ink from my own notes bled faintly through the new cover ghost lines still visible under the edits. I didn't mention it. I just filed it away. Somewhere memory could find it later. The last cut was clean. I opened my email at dawn and saw the notice. Ownership update confirmed. The document listed my father's business, my name replaced with hers. The timestamp was midnight. No call, no discussion. Just a change of access and a sentence in legal font. I clicked the link once, then again. The file opened to a spreadsheet. The cell where my initials used to be now read Assistant Review Only. My cursor blinked like a pulse trapped under glass. I didn't move it. The kitchen light hummed behind me. Coffee cooled beside a pile of unpaid invoices, each one missing my signature. I'd been helping manage the accounts, but they'd already reassigned the login. The system wouldn't recognize my password. I sat there long enough to hear the house wake doors, pipes, steps overhead. My mother's voice drifted down the stairs. It's for efficiency. Don't take it personal. The printer on the counter spat another page, a form labeled New Access Level. I read the line twice, then folded it once, sharp, and slid it into a drawer. By noon, I wasn't CC'd in family emails anymore. Meetings happened without me. Even the spare key to the office went missing from the hook. I asked once. My father said, "Laya keeps it safer." I stopped asking. I began saving copies, screenshots, dates, small things with weight. One file name caught my eye, Ledger, Final. PDF, buried inside a shared drive. I opened it, read the first few lines, and closed it again. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't delete it either. I just backed it up to a quiet folder, a place only I could reach. That night, I sat in the dark kitchen, the same chair, the same hum. My hand lay flat on the table. Steady, I whispered once, mostly to the still air. I'm done asking for space. I'll build mine. The house slept heavy that night. A single light from the hallway slipped under my door, thin as breath. The air conditioner ticked, counting seconds. The wall clock hummed its slow rhythm 3, 4, 5. On the desk, my phone rested face down. The silver envelope from the dinner lay beside it, edges softened, corner torn. I reached for it once, not to open, just to feel the weight still inside. Paper over silence. I sat for a while, not thinking, not moving. The curtain moved against the faint draft. The city outside blinked through half-closed blinds. Nothing dramatic, just stillness, heavy enough to hold its own voice. When dawn came, I opened the laptop. The fan started with a dry whir. Files blinked across the screen. Rows of folders labeled by date. I began renaming them 2021. Invoice, bank, statement, original. Meeting audio, confirmed. My fingers moved with the rhythm of habit. Click, save, click. Pages printed one by one. The sound sharp against the quiet. I stacked them by month. Lined the edges with a ruler. The smell of toner filled the air. Then the scanner light crawled across the glass slow, deliberate. Each document passed through, leaving a thin blue trail on the screen. Receipts, forms, emails with subject lines like transfer notice and revised access. I didn't read them. I already knew what they said. The folders grew thicker. One flash drive filled, then another. I labeled them in pencil. Proof A, proof B, final. Outside, the morning deepened into color. The hum of the street returned. I kept working through it. Lines turned into order. When I shut the laptop, the reflection on the black screen caught my face and the envelope behind me, two objects sharing the same frame. Nothing in the room moved anymore, only the clock. Tick, hold, tick. By afternoon, I was at the small office above the courier shop. The air smelled like ink and dust. A desk, a lamp, and the quiet buzz of old wiring. D. Act rated. Hall was there, the technician from my father's shop. Same steady stance. Hands clean now. No wrench. He placed a folder on the table. "You want me to check which files first?" he asked. I nodded. That was enough. We worked side by side. No talk. Only the rhythm of paper sliding, scanner clicking, pen caps opening and closing. Every page carried a timestamp. Every transfer had a name. The screen glowed pale blue across our faces. Step 1 was simple. I drafted an email. Subject: access clarification. Each line factual. Each attachment precise. I sent it to my father's office account. CC'd the accountant. Please confirm, was the only request. Step 2, legality. The copier downstairs had a notary seal. I pressed each page under the stamp. One by one. The red circle bled slightly at the edges. Hall held the pages steady. You'll want both copies, he said quietly. I folded one set into a brown envelope and wrote the date on the flap. Step 3, visibility. I scheduled a family meeting for Friday, 9 a.m. Subject line: operational review. The invite went to everyone. The same room, the same long table. The one where decisions were made and erased. Before leaving, I backed up every file to a new drive. The label read, "For record." It fit between my phone and wallet. Light but final. Hall looked at me once before locking the drawer. "You good?" he asked. "I'm organized," I said. He nodded, and that was the end of it. That night, I sat by the window, the streetlights flickering like old film. The envelope from dinner still waited on the shelf. I didn't move it. I don't need them to believe me. I just need the record to speak. The meeting took place on a Friday morning. The same conference room. Same long table polished to a mirror. Light poured through the glass wall, sharp enough to catch every reflection. The hum of the air vent carried steady between sentences. They sat across from me, my father at the head, my mother beside him. Laya to the right. Across the end of the table sat Maya, the company accountant. Nodal, tablet open, pen aligned with the margin. My father began. "We're proud you've managed well," he said. Hands folded. "But families share burdens. We've supported you. And now it's time to return that faith." His voice steady. "Trained." My mother nodded. "Your sisters had challenges too. You have your independence. She has her promise. We balance what we can." Leia adjusted her blazer, looked at me carefully. "We're proposing to centralize the business again. Dad thinks one brand, one management." She smiled the same smile from that birthday photo, rehearsed and warm under the wrong light. I let them talk. The sound of their words filled the room, evened out by the whir of the ceiling fan, somewhere in the distance. A phone vibrated and stopped. My father leaned forward. "We'll need your signature on the merge, for efficiency. It keeps the family whole." His cufflinks caught the sunlight gold, engraved with initials that used to match mine. The silence afterward had a weight. Maya shifted in her chair, thumb brushing the tablet screen, but not tapping it. My reflection in the glass wall looked detached, smaller, calm. No one else moved. The only sound was the faint tick of the wall clock. I reached for my bag. The zipper sounded small and deliberate. The fabric folded under my hand. My mother started to say something, but the words didn't make it out. I placed the envelope on the table. Brown paper, dated in clean ink. It lay between us like a line drawn with a ruler. Maya looked at it first, then at me. No one else breathed for a full 10 seconds. The light hit the seal, turning it red in the middle of the table. I broke the seal with one hand. The paper lifted, quiet as breath. Inside were 3 layers, each marked in order. The first was a set of screenshots, emails between my father and the bank, forwarding asset transfers. His signature at the bottom, dates, times. No room for interpretation. The faint buzz of the air vent carried through as I slid them forward. The second layer, bank statements, columns of numbers, neat and absolute. The account ending in 7,214. Transfers made on the same days I'd been told funds are tight. My mother's eyes flicked to the paper, then to Leia. The third document carried a seal, red, circular, official. A notarized amendment filed last week. Ownership reversion, all shares under my name, Ryan stated. Maya had prepared it 2 days earlier. She verified each stamp without lifting her head. Laya's voice broke first. "Dad." He didn't answer. His fingers traced the paper edges, stopped halfway. My mother's hand rested on his arm. Her ring clicked softly against the table. No one looked at me, but the silence moved toward me anyway. I straightened the pages. All the transfers are documented, I said evenly. All communications verified. The accountant's copy is sealed. My father exhaled once. Slow. The sound of the ceiling fan grew louder, as if the air had thickened. I turned to Maya. File the amendment today, I said. She nodded. Then I looked back at them. From now on, I said, voice level. My name stands where it belongs. No one spoke. Maya rose first, gathering the folders. The seal caught the light again before it disappeared into the envelope. I stood. The chair legs made no sound against the floor. This concludes the review, I said. My father stayed seated. My mother's gaze followed the documents out of the room. The door closed behind me with a clean click. Everything was finally in its place. The city was quiet by the time I got home. A thin gold light fell across the floor, fading at the corners. The kettle clicked once, then hummed low. Steam curled against the window, soft and steady. I took off my jacket, hung it by the door. The air held no echo from earlier, just stillness, shaped by ordinary sounds. A page turned somewhere inside the apartment. The hum of the refrigerator answered. On the counter sat the brown envelope, now empty. Edges bent. I placed it flat under a small stone paperweight. It stayed there. Part of the room now. The chair by the window had sunlight on one armrest. I sat, legs folded, shoulders loose. The street outside moved without urgency, cars gliding, a dog crossing, someone laughing far away. I checked my phone once, saw no messages waiting. I set it face down and left it there. The clock hands met at 12. The air was still. For the first time in years, there was no need to measure silence. On Monday, the family group chat stayed quiet. No one mentioned the meeting. No one asked for the documents back. But when I sent a short update about the company audit, every reply came within minutes. Polite, precise, different. I closed the chat and opened the window. The air outside carried the scent of rain on concrete. I let it in. Curtains lifted slightly. Light spreading across the desk. I watered the small plant by the sill. Its leaves caught the drops, trembling once before settling. The stone paperweight stayed where it was, holding the envelope in place. The kettle clicked off again. The sound marked the hour without needing a clock. I sat, watching the city breathe. No shadows reached the floor now. Sometimes, leaving a table is the only way to keep your seat. I kept my silence, and the silence kept me.